All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back to your favorite WMMA podcast. Hashtag CB99 Talks. This is episode 182. Of course, I'm Combo Breaker 99. All right, y'all. So, oops, deleted the last episode. So here I am again trying to re-record this one. This one just doing it straight through. So yeah, with this one, man, I can talk about a couple of other things that I did miss in the last one. But yeah, I was going through and I deleted the live stream from earlier. So here we go, y'all. Back again. But it's always good to be back, anyways, But here we are. Want to talk about this past weekend's fights a little bit, some of the things that I missed in the last stream. Had some good fights, man. Overall, had some good fights. Good women's boxing, of course. Good representation for boxing, period. And I'm not talking about Paul versus Tyson, talking about the co-main event. So yeah, I want to go back and talk about Taylor Serrano too a little bit. And of course, the UFC fights. Got to talk about Eduardo Moura versus Veronica Hardy and Araujo versus Silva. A lot of work needs to be done on both sides. I like what I saw from both sides in the fights, but still a lot of work that needs to be done here. So yeah, I want to talk about that because a lot of people are already throwing Silva out the door now, saying she's done, exposed, fraud checked, all of that. But we got to talk about that situation too, though, because everybody is quick to throw a fighter out, even when a fighter is injured. So we're going to save that. We're going to talk about that. All right. Also, got some fight news. I want to give my thoughts on Maverick versus Horth. Miranda Maverick finally got an opponent locked in. Hopefully, fingers crossed, this opponent won't pull out, of course, right? And of course, it is fight week. It is fight week again. Just so y'all know, this is an early card. It's a China card. This UFC Fight Night card. Peter Yan versus Figueiredo is an early one, y'all. For me, Eastern time, it starts at 3 a.m. All right. The prelim start at 3 a.m., which I will probably be up to see, but I ain't going to be here calling with y'all. I'll just have it playing in the background working. But the main card starts at 6 a.m. All right. So this is a definite replay. This is a definite replay right here. All right. So I want to talk about the women's fights on this card as well. All right. But yeah, man, this past weekend was pretty good as far as fights. Like I said, going back to last Friday, Taylor Serrano 2, a fight that us hardcore boxing fans were really looking forward to. I know I was. Turned out to be another good war. Shout out to both Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. Like I said on my other channel, I do believe that Amanda Serrano won again. I think she done way more enough this time. Once you look past the cut and that little bit of damage, which what that damage came from, right? I think Amanda Serrano did more than enough this time around to win the fight. I thought Amanda Serrano was the cleaner puncher, effective pressure. I think she won a lot of the exchanges. And I thought she just fought a good, hard, clean fight in this one. I mean, there's always tactics that a fighter can use, and we can't knock that, where a fighter clinches or a fighter might hold after they hit. You just got to know how to adjust to that, right? But when you start adding in things like headbutts and, just leading with your head, rubbing it in, and just constantly holding, that takes away from your game plan as well. That takes away from your opponents, of course, but it takes away from yours. And it just kind of makes me question, like, did Katie Taylor not have a good game plan coming in? Like, is she as good as we say she is? I do think she's a good fighter, but with these little dirty tactics we've seen in the past, I mean, it was really amped up in this fight because every exchange, like in the mid, I'd say probably from like round 3 on, you really saw Katie Taylor have to hold or use her head in this fight because that's where they opened up the cut early on in the fight. Like I think it was right round 3 or 4. And I saw that happen when Amanda Serrano started to land more body shots. Like when she started to land to the body, Katie Taylor didn't like that. So when that started happening, you started seeing more like leaning in with the head. Like it wasn't even like she was full on grabbing. It was like she was just coming forward with the head first. And then, just rubbing it into the cheek until you could see it open up the brow there. But I thought Amanda Serrano on her part, she did well as far as just landing in combinations, landing hard shots. Maybe if she went to the body a little bit more, she probably had more success, or maybe even she didn't exchange as much and throw those flurries to make the crowd go wild. But maybe if she set up maybe like the heavy singles and doubles like she did in the first round and get Katie Taylor to walk into the left hand like she did and hurt her, she probably could have maybe scored some knockdowns or even stopped Katie Taylor. But I thought it was a good fight. All around, it was a good fight. Definitely potential fight of the year for boxing, because I don't really recall too many other fights that got me going in boxing. I mean, that Crawford Madrimal fight was good. That was a good fight. So was the Tim Tszyu knockout loss. I can't remember his opponent's name right now, but that was a good fight. But other than that, man, I think this was probably the one that delivered as far as like championship wise, and significance wise when it comes down to it. I thought Taylor, put it all on the line. Serrano definitely did. I thought she improved. But like I said, moving forward, if they do a third fight, I think Amanda Serrano is definitely going to have to walk her down more with the body shots and just try to set up good heavy shots behind her jab and not throw too many flurries, because when she's throwing flurries, that gives Katie Taylor a chance to use her hand speed and try to catch up with her. And then these judges, they can say, oh, I can give this to Taylor now, But if the judges saw this one for Taylor, I was like, I don't know what Serrano's going to do. I don't know what she's going to do in the third fight. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's got to be some heavy-handed punching next time around, and more so tying up of her own. It's got to be a lot of body work and leaning on Taylor and giving her own medicine, because Amanda Serrano clearly outlanded her. Amanda Serrano clearly outlanded her, I mean, by over 100 punches, 324 punches to 217, 44% to her 41. Come on, y'all. So outside of that, man, I mean, like, it was a good fight. It just sucks whenever we have a good, solid fight like this, one for history, but the judges, they have to mess it up. They have to mess it up with their bad scoring like this. I mean, I don't know what fight they saw. I mean, I could definitely see Katie Taylor winning a few rounds in the mid part of the fight, but I don't think she did enough to take this one again. No, not at all. It should be 1-1 right now. But if they're going for a third fight, it would still kind of be off balance, Serrano could win, then what is going to lead to like best 3 out of 5. But I mean, hey, if they all turn out to be like this, shoot, we want to see that, right? I guess so, right? But yeah, that was the main event for me. No, I did not watch Paul versus Tyson. I heard the news on it. But who in here really picked Mike Tyson? That's the question I got to ask. Who really picked Mike Tyson? Who thought Mike Tyson was going to show up back in the past? Like, that's what I'm saying. This new generation, they don't really do their history, Like, as soon as they seen Mike on like TikTok, like old highlights from YouTube and TikTok, they automatically think, oh, this guy's going to show up and he's going to hand Jake Paul this loss. I'm like, the dude is 58 years old. If they didn't see the Roy exhibition, if they didn't go 20 years back to the Kevin McBride fight, then they don't really know who Mike is at this point. Mike is not that same Mike. That Mike's been gone for a while. I don't even think that Mike was there in the Lennox Lewis fight, honestly. That Mike was dangerous, but it wasn't as dangerous as the Mike that even Evander Holyfield fought, the one that came back in the 90s, after his lockdown. But I don't think, the people that were picking Mike were really doing their research. They thought this Mike was really going to show up just for this guy. No, like, you got to do the math here. Like, Jake Paul is still not like this official boxer. He's still not fighting legit opponents. But when he's in the gym, he is conditioning himself to be somewhat of a boxer, so that does stand for something. And then you got to look at youth. The guy has no injuries. He's still young, and he's not taking any punishment because he's not fighting legit competition, right? So he's big, he's heavy, he's strong. Doesn't have to have all the skills to beat a 58-year-old man in Tyson who came in with a knee brace, right? So just do the math on that. I couldn't do that. I just said, you know what? This is another one for Paul. That's why he picked to fight him. That's why he picked Tyson, That's just what it is. But if y'all want to see him step it up, I mean, he's not going to answer Canelo. He's not going to answer Artur Beterbiev, so we're just going to continue to see these sideshow fights and let it be that. As long as they're putting good boxing matches on the card, I'll continue to watch those good boxing matches. But I'm not going to be watching those exhibitions, not at all. I mean, shout out to Jake Paul for promoting Serrano and getting her to this level, and getting her money that she's never had before. I do respect him on that note, but why don't he just sit back and play the promoter at this point? Stop being Vince McMahon and trying to roid up and get in there and fight. Oops, I'm just. But anyways, yeah, good fight on Taylor and Serrano's side. If we see a third fight, I definitely will tune in. But yeah, yeah, UFC Fight Night this past weekend. I had to go back and watch them. Like I said, I had to go back and watch these fights. I went 0-2 on this one. Hey, I went 0-2 on some flyweights. And, usually I'm good on flyweights, but this time I was like, I'm going to go with Veronica Hardy and I'm going to go with Kareem Silva. I really wasn't 100% on Kareem Silva as far as it being like a finish, but I said, hey, I'm going Kareem Silva by decision. I'm going to go with Hardy by decision. But we got some questions answered here, man. We got some questions answered on both sides. I still think that Veronica Hardy is, I still think she is a work in progress, and I still think she has something to offer. But when it comes down to her threat level, I don't see it there. I still don't see like this dangerous threat level because I still think she's a little, I hate to say weak, but I still think she's not as physically strong as she needs to be to run this division. Like right now, if you're going to be Veronica Hardy's height and frame, you got to have that physical strength, just like fighters like Natalia Silva, even Miranda Maverick, she's pretty strong for her size, but as time goes on, they have to evolve to deal with these bigger girls. And this fight, it was kind of like a Miranda Maverick, Jasmine situation, smaller fighter dealing with a bigger fighter like this. So I think Veronica Hardy, she had the style to beat Eduardo Moura, but they just didn't execute a good game plan. Like she had the technique, definitely had the skills to do it. That's why I picked her, but she just didn't have the right game plan and execution that night. Now, Eduardo Moura's side, on her side, Eduardo Moura, she looked like she was at home. I'm going to go ahead and say that. Stay away from 115, Eduardo Moura. She looked like a full-fledged flyweight here. Shoot. Might be pushing bantamweight when she get to be like 33 or 34. Who knows, right? But right now, she definitely looked like a flyweight. Eduardo Moura didn't look lethargic, didn't look sluggish in there. She looked clear-eyed. She looked confident in letting her hands go. Showed some power in the right hand. Still needs some work on her stand-up game, of course, but if she was able to get respect with her hands against a seasoned veteran like Veronica Hardy, that tells me that she has been working on something, right? She is physically stronger at this weight. She was able to get some takedowns, and like I said, fight all. She kind of took the third round off, but she was in all three rounds. So definitely see a bigger improvement than what we saw this past summer against Denise Gomes. She looked sharp and wide awake and strong. And what we saw from her in this fight was putting a lot of pressure in the first two rounds, getting the takedown against Hardy, and just kind of going through the motions. I could see trying not to take too many chances against a veteran like Veronica Hardy, but it got the job done. Still needs some work, of course. I think she needs to jab more, throw more leg kicks, and if she has that power, she needs to really start to use more feints and be confident in her power and throw more body kicks of her own. Because, Hardy was throwing the body kicks. Hardy had the better body kicks, I think. And, she was the one more in danger of being taken down here. So I think somebody as big as Eduardo Moura, needs to throw more kicks, going in there for the smaller opponent. But yeah, I still think Veronica Hardy needs a little bit more work. Definitely got a good team behind her and a good trainer behind her in Dan Hardy. I think he's definitely building that confidence up. That's why she fought with confidence in this fight. Just had a wrong game plan, but every time you look at Veronica Hardy, she got that little mean look, that little scowl on her face. I like that. I like how she always has that mean streak in her. Even whenever you get your hands on her, she's throwing knees and throwing elbows. She's fighting to get you off. But she just needs to polish some things up. But other than that, I like Hardy's mean streak. Like that's what's going to keep her alive in this division and getting better, I think. Moving forward though, I think she may need a couple of more unranked fights before we throw her in there with some ranked opponents. Maybe one more. We see some improvements in the game plan, and then you might see her fighting like a Casey O'Neill or Kareem Silva here pretty soon. Or maybe her and Miranda Maverick could fight at one point to try to get in the rankings. So I just see a lot more work needing to be done on her side as far as IQ and execution. Maybe a couple more unranked fights for Veronica Hardy. Don't know who off top right now, but Eduardo Moura, I would like to see her fight. She said she wanted to fight Petrovic. Yes, she wants to fight another big grappler like herself. So maybe if that fight happens, yeah. Or maybe she could get the winner of Wayne Cong, Gabriela Fernandes. Who knows? Or, Montana, Luana Carolina winner. Because she did come in here fighting a seasoned veteran and handling it well. So yeah, good job on Eduardo Moura's part as far as, finally moving up and accepting the fact that she's a flyweight. Definitely want to see more work from Hardy. Don't see her as this huge threat or next level fighter yet. Just got to work on her takedown defense and, probably build up that strength as well. All right. Let's talk about this again. All right. Viviane Araujo taking on Kareem Silva. Okay, y'all. So, like I said, look, I know everybody was ready to count Kareem Silva out here and throw her away and try to put her down now because she came up with a loss here. But like I said, going into this fight, I didn't see Kareem Silva submitting Viviane Araujo. And right before the fight, like I told y'all, Araujo still has a lot of good natural abilities. And this was going to be a style clash for sure. Because Kareem Silva, she will handle fighters that are a little bit weaker. Some of them are just, pure strikers. But when you're dealing with somebody like Araujo who has awkward movement, physical strength, and pretty good BJJ herself, I just saw this fight being very competitive. I did see this competitive. I thought that Kareem Silva was going to have the edge as far as maybe her power and maybe how she would set up her striking. But striking placement wasn't very good in this fight. I mean, did some damage and hurt Araujo early on, but threw a lot of bad kicks out there. Just threw a lot of air kicks that were just leaving her wide open for shots like this. And forcing the takedown against Araujo just wasn't going to work. I think Kareem Silva's problem in this fight was she didn't try to break her opponent down. She tried to find the finish on the feet, or she tried to look for the submission when she needed to break Araujo down, or just simply, technically shut her out, which I think Silva had the striking to do that. But again, it was kind of like the Hardy fight where they were just throwing the wrong shots at the wrong time, throwing a lot of air kicks, throwing kicks that weren't even near Araujo's head, and if you're missing with long kicks like that and your legs are this long, I'm like, okay, you got to work on your distance management big time. If your kicks ain't gonna land, your jab ain't gonna land here, so I just didn't see Kareem Silva sticking to a good break him down type of game plan, because that's what you need against Araujo. Walk her in the punches, take her legs out, work that body, and then eventually, just fight your way to a decision, because Araujo is one you can't really come in there with a game plan and knock out. Okay. Marian Lipsky, yeah, you could kind of break her down. You look for a big shot, probably stop her, even submit her. And that's why I even question that fight. Like, how did she not like break down Ariane Lipsky? Ariane Lipsky breaking down, Montana did it. Jasmine did it. So after watching these two fights back to back, even though she won the Lipsky fight and lost this one, still makes me question, okay, like, does she have like the mindset to systematically break opponents down? Like, she can finish you. She'll stay in a fight. She's always dangerous, but breaking opponents down, I think that's the kind of approach she needs, and she didn't really have that, right? Looking back at the fight, with Viviane Araujo's side, like I said, Viviane Araujo, she just used her natural abilities in this one, because even after watching this fight, I still got to say Viviane Araujo fighting the top 3 or top 5 and fighting for a belt, still kind of far off to say. That's still far off to say for her. I think in this type of fight, she just fought someone who is still kind of green. And we can say that because she's still ranked low. She's still growing. but she had enough in there and she's seen enough in the past to know how to handle a fighter like Kareem Silva. I think that again, Araujo has good wrestling, physically strong. Her takedown defense is solid. It's just her overall like technical execution is always off. Like she uses her abilities like sporadically. Like she uses them in the most like unorthodox way and uses this athleticism at times, to get her out of trouble. A lot of it isn't really like technically set up. Like even her pivots, like she'll just jump out because she's fast. Like she needs to know how to pivot right when her opponent's stepping in, just so she doesn't use too much energy. Even her speed, like and timing. Talked about this before, Aro. She needs to kind of settle it down. And I do believe like if she was more of a technically sound fighter and had like a good technical team behind her, like if she was on the Bullets team, she could fight to that level. If they just had somebody to get in her mind like that and use all these attributes for for a more technical game plan, she would be there, But in this fight, I think she just has enough as a gatekeeper to prove that, she's still hanging in there. She's still hanging in there. And that's what she needed in this fight, just to go in here and show that, hey, I got enough skills and answer some questions to still hang in that mid-range. Because where Araujo stands right now, she can still beat a lot of girls out on the come up. All right. Like even Veronica Hardy won her last fight. I still think Araujo would have enough to give Veronica Hardy trouble. If her and Casey O'Neill or Jasmine fight, Jasmine might be the toughest out of all of them. But even then, Araujo might be trouble for Jasmine as well. So that's why I think Araujo right now. I think she did well, did okay. Wow, I'll say she did okay as far as keeping her job right now. But to get to that top again, she's gonna have to start seeing what she did in this fight and start sharpening it up and polishing it up. All right, so Kareem Silva, look, people are always ready to throw away a fighter. They always be waiting for that person's downfall. I can't believe this. Even like Alexa Grasso, whether it be Alexa Grasso now Kareem Silva, even with Aaron in her fight, even Rose, you know what I mean? Like I said with Rose too, like I gave her a chance to beat Aaron, but when it came down to it, I saw some questions answered. So I was like, okay, yeah, maybe Rose isn't ready for this top level, but Rose could still handle some of these other fighters in the mid rankings, But seeing a fighter like Kareem Silva, who I'm gonna say just came into the UFC, but she's still fighting her way up, and she did get a ranking, right? And this is her first L in the UFC. And I mean, look, she went on a 4-fight win streak, right? She finished three of those opponents, beat Lipsky, which of course was a competitive fight, and now she loses to Viviane Araujo. Why does that mean she's done or overrated? The girl still ranked low, and after seeing this fight, there's still some questions. There's questions that she's answered, right? She's showing us that she's still a good competitive fighter at number 12, but she just needs to work on some things. And where she stands right now doesn't really say Kareem Silva's overrated. Nah, not at all. Like it just shows that she has time to work. She's 30 years old, ranked number 12, first loss in the UFC, won 4 in a row, right? Won 4 in a row. So that tells me that's still a good fighter right there. I mean, she submitted Marina Moreau. Nobody's ever done that before, right? So when I look at a fighter like Kareem Silva, I see, okay, that's a minor setback. She can work. She can go back to the drawing board and work and come back from this loss, right? It wasn't like she went in there and got knocked out. It wasn't like she went in there and got submitted herself. I know she almost got submitted by Araujo, but that shows you how good her submission defense is and how good Araujo is, right? Araujo is the best opponent on her resume now. So this is just a learning lesson. This is just, one of those things you got to learn from. And that's what's going to happen. Like when you fight a better opponent, you fight somebody, you stepping up to the plate, you fight the number 9, number 8, whatever, and you lose. That's not saying you're overhyped. That's just saying, okay, I tested myself. This is what I need to work on. It's one thing if she was fighting a bunch of overrated fighters, a bunch of unranked fighters, like 5, 6 in a row, then boom, she fights a Grasso, and then boom, gets knocked out, right? Because that's showing that she never got to work in the middle. But at least Karine Silva's getting to work in the middle right now, So whenever people say, is she overrated now or she is overrated, I ask that question, is Silva overrated? Not at all, man. She's not. She's not. She's still fighting to a high level and showing signs of a dangerous fighter. It just comes down to, like I said with Hardy, she's got to work on her game plan and how she executes this striking now. And when I look at a fighter like her versus Natalia Silva, you can see it, like they fight different too. Like Silva fights more, Natalia Silva fights more to win. Manon, she fights more to win. Even if that pisses y'all off, they fight to win. Everybody wants knockouts and finishes, right? But these fighters care about winning, and that's what it is. Like if you don't see the knockout coming, shoot, still get the victory. Get the victory. Who cares what the fans say? See, Karine Silva, she's not fighting to win. She's fighting more so to finish. I know she says she can go 3 rounds, but still there's a difference. Like when you see Karine Silva fighting, she approaches fights in a different way where there can be a little bit more grueling for her if she can't get the finish. Whereas Natalia Silva, you see Natalia Silva, she will put that speed on you and that power on you, but if she doesn't see the knockout or finish coming, she knows how to sit back and comfortably win on points, right? She knows how to do that. But Kareem, she can't really build a lead because she's walking in the punches. She's walking in the shots, walking in the kicks, walking in the strikes, putting herself in bad situations with her takedowns if they get sloppy, So when I look at Karine Silva, she's more so going tit for tat with Araujo here, whereas Natalia Silva, she picked her apart. She outlanded and outworked her. Karine Silva is not really outlanding here. She's trying to fight through the fire to get her job done, but at the same time, she's getting knotted up, right? So that's where she needs her work at. But with that being said, I still think Karine Silva has a lot of opportunities coming to improve those things. And, she has a lot going for her. I still think Karine Silva, she can go in there, come back and learn from this. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't like she got starched and she looked frustrated in there. She fought all the way to the end. And some people might say Karine Silva won. Like if you give her that second round, she would have won the fight. It wouldn't look good, but okay, she would have won the fight. But when you look at her style, Karine versus Natalia Silva, her style is the type of style that it's going to take a little bit more work, like a work in progress. And I still see that in her where eventually she might take another loss or two, but she's not going to be out of the rank. She's not going to be cut like that. Like I still see growth in her more than say like Andrea Lee, where she has these tools, but she just doesn't use any of them. Or even like with Montana, Montana been here for a while as well. She's still working her way up. She's unranked. She's been here longer than a lot of these flyweights, but still taking her forever. And again, going back to like Andrea Lee, good attributes, but just doesn't know how to use her. It won't let it go. I still think Karine Silva has a lot of things that she hasn't even learned how to use yet, but you will see her use in the future. All right. So you might see her take another loss or two, but I still think she'll be up here. She'll be one ranked and she could get a title shot down the line. I do believe that. I believe she'll fight top 5 at some point. It's just going to take some work. It's just when you look at two different fighters, where you got a fighter like when you got the grueling fighters like Aaron or Karine, they might lose down the line. But when you got the cleaner fighters like Manon and Natalia, who know how to win, like I said, boring or not, even Valentina, you put her in that category. Those fighters that know how to win, you'll see them go on those clean win streaks at times, right? But the ones that like to grapple more and get in there and wrestle, sometimes they're going to be taking shots and they might get clipped and get knocked out, or they might just lose like this, So I still think Karine has a chance. People, you got to calm down on that, man. Like she's already ranked. So if she got ranked already, and she's won 4 in a row and just took 1 loss, she ain't exposed and she ain't fraud checked. I mean, yeah, she's got more to stand on than Wayne Cong, She got more to stand on than Wayne Kong or even fighters like Dakota that aren't even signed to the UFC yet. So she's here. Kareem Silva's here. So she just needs to improve a little bit here and there, and she can go higher. So yeah. Moving on from here for Araujo, I do want to see Araujo in a fight with a fighter like this. Both of these fighters, I think, are in like the mid ranking of flyweight. Rose Namajunas just coming off of Aaron Blanchfield loss, puts her in the midsection. Vivian Araujo held on and beat Kareem Silva, leaving her in the midsection. So if Rose wants to get back in there as soon as possible, or maybe come back in like the spring, this is a good fight. Rose is number 6, Araujo's number 9. So I think it's fair Rose fights down now. And Araujo gets to fight up again one more time, because at 37, I thought she put on a decent performance to say, okay, let me see what I can do against a former champion like Rose. Let's test Rose's skills out, as far as her strength. Let's see how effective her box can be on Araujo here. Let's see if she can handle that speed and that jiu-jitsu from Araujo. I actually think Araujo is going to become a stronger fighter here. And when you match up their stamina here, it might kind of play into each other. I think Araujo, with how she's fighting lately, her pacing might give Rose some problems. Her power might as well. I definitely see both fighters landing on each other in this one, both coming out with, some knots on their faces and a couple of mice under their eyes in this one, So I like to see this here. Good midsection fight sometime in the spring. I would call it 50-50, or maybe even give the edge to Araujo a little bit here, just because, she's the full-fledged flyweight, the stronger fighter here. And I think that, I don't think Rose's BJJ would be very effective in this fight against Araujo, or even like her wrestling. I think Araujo will be the stronger one here. So I actually might have to favor Araujo here. So yeah, what do y'all think about that? That would be a good matchup. And for Kareem Silva, maybe this fight next year, Kareem Silva versus Casey O'Neill. I would save Casey O'Neill for Wayne Kong or even like Miranda Maverick if Miranda Maverick beats Horth. But I think Kareem Silva needs to fight down to get in a couple of lessons. She already beat Ariane Silva, and below her is Jasmine. Jasmine's fighting Mayra Bueno Silva, as y'all know. So she can't fight 13 or 14. So I think number 15 will be good for Casey O'Neill. So she has to fight down. And, Casey O'Neill's always wanting to fight somebody ranked. So Casey O'Neill's want that work. There's a Kareem Silva for her. All right, and number 12. How I think this one would go, I think that both fighters fight to lose. I think Kareem Silva definitely has the skills to do it. But with some of the mistakes she was making in our real fight, I want to see if, she can learn from that. And I think she needs to learn how to systematically break her opponent down. Let's see if she can do that to a high volume, high cardio, high pace fighter like her, Casey O'Neill. Casey O'Neill definitely not as strong as Kareem Silva, I don't think. I don't think she can hit as hard as Kareem Silva, but I think she throws better punches and she lands more. Like Casey O'Neill will get hit, but I think Casey O'Neill's connection percentage should be a little bit higher, right? It just seems like she doesn't throw a lot of air punches to me. Hold on, let's see if we can find that striking accuracy. Hold on. Striking accuracy for Casey O'Neill. All right, so let's look at the UFC stats here. Casey O'Neill, striking accuracy. Okay, Casey O'Neill's striking accuracy is at 52%. That's pretty decent, right? 52%. And for Kareem Silva, now we know styles make fights, and it comes down to how it's executed, but still, it does stand for something because Kareem got hit a lot in our real fight. But striking accuracy, striking accuracy for Kareem Silva. Let's see. Oh, Kareem Silva striking accuracy is 38%. I knew it. See, I didn't have to look at him before that. I already knew that Casey O'Neal does land more because you got to remember Kareem Silva's throwing a lot of these soccer kicks and they're always missing. So, Kareem, if you're listening or have your people translate it into Portuguese, listen, stop throwing air kicks. Start throwing combinations. Start throwing boxing combinations. Start throwing that long jab. Start throwing calf kicks. Start throwing calf kicks. Stop throwing them air kicks. It really ticks me off when she throws those air kicks because it's like, why are you throwing that? Why are you wasting all that energy throwing that front kick? And you know it ain't gonna land. Like, find your range with a jab. Touch the glove of your opponent with the jab. Just flick it out. Touch the ankle with your foot. Stop throwing that. Yeah. So Kareem Silva has a lower striking accuracy percentage than Casey O'Neal, which could stand for something. Because if Casey O'Neal can take her power and she throws volume, she could outwork her in some rounds. But the jiu-jitsu, I know jiu-jitsu favors Kareem Silva, so submission threat is always high there. Like I said, power. If Kareem Silva lands one good shot, she could hurt Casey O'Neal. So I would say 60-40 more for Silva right now. But yeah, I would say 60-40 more for right now. But we'll see if she comes with that mindset to adjust and adapt to what her opponent's doing and not give them a chance to hit. All right. But yeah, good fights overall. Both of them good fights. And like I said, I don't count Kareem Silva out. She's not overrated. She'll be back. Nobody, every now and then fighters don't just go on a clear win streak. I know we've seen several do it, like Barber, finally. Silva, Fior, Blanchfield. They've all gone nice little win streaks, 6, 7 in a row. We all got kind of spoiled with that. Well, some of y'all did. I did. Even then, whenever these fighters are on 6 fight win streaks, y'all still thinking they overrated. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. Wake up. Fighters win 5, 6 in a row. How many times y'all see that? But now that somebody loses one in the middle and just needs a little work, y'all ready to throw them out. But nah, man, like, I think Kareem Silva will be back. It's going to take some time because that's just her style. But some of y'all questioning Grasso now and calling her a duck. Come on now. Grasso just won the belt, so she knows what to do at this point. Or y'all think she dug because she got a broken leg? Come on now. Same thing with case Tracy Cortez. Tracy Cortez just had surgery and people call her a duck. Come on. These fighters are not superhuman. These fighters are not superheroes. These fighters don't have adamantium skeletons like Wolverine or something like that. Yeah, I do watch a little Marvel. Well, I did back in the day. Now, I know a little bit about Marvel. Let me just put it that way. I know a little bit about X-Men from the 90s, that is, but I don't watch X-Men stuff like that now. But yeah, we don't have superhuman fighters in here that just have like superhuman recoveries, immune systems and whatever. No, like, they get hurt too. If they in there getting cut up, I think they'd rather fight than go into the knife, So just watch what you say about some fighters. They're still human and they gotta grow too. All right. Yeah, quick fight news here. Quick fight news before we talk about fight weekend. I wanted to speak on this one here. So yeah, out Tracy Cortez. Speaking of Tracy Cortez, right? Tracy Cortez is out due to injury, and in steps Jamie Lynn Horth to take on Miranda Maverick December 14th for this UFC Fight Night card. This is the Colby Covington, Joaquin Buckley card. As y'all know, this was the second scheduling of Maverick Cortez, but now it's the second cancellation. All right. First time Cortez stepped up to fight Rose, and that left Miranda high and dry. High and dry because she fought Deanna Barbosa, but without a ranked opponent. So they try to reschedule, and once again, it's on. Right. Well, once again, it's off. Right. So yeah. And Jamie Lynn Horth, who's coming off her win over Petrovic this last month, right? She's ready to be active. She's ready to come right back and get get some work in. So shout out to her. Jamie Lynn Horth just fought. Yeah. She just fought November 2nd. Yeah, just November 2nd. She coming back about a month, a week later. So good on her. It's good to stay active, right? My thoughts on this one, I think it sucks for Miranda Maverick, but she's got to continue to wait for a ranked opponent. It always seems like people are ducking her, you know. Even though Miranda, her resume has been kind of a pattern where it's win, loss, loss, something like that. It seems like fighters don't want to fight her because she's already went on record to say like 4 people turned her down once before. I know she said Macy Barber turned down a rematch with her. And then she said like 3 other people turned down a fight with her. So I'm like, wow, why are these people turning down Miranda Maverick? Of course, this situation is different. Cortez stepped it up to fight Rose once, and then this time Cortez is injured. So it's different, but still, it seems like Maverick's always getting that raw in where she can't get a ranked opponent. My thoughts on this one, though, good stay busy fight. It's better than nothing. I think Miranda has more than enough to win this fight. I still think Horth is a little green. After looking at that Petrovic fight, I think Petrovic had success on the feet against Horth, which was kind of crazy. I picked Horth to be the better striker in that one. But both fighters seem to get a little sloppy, and I think that's where Horth might lose this one here because that fight, she didn't really hold it together with her like poise and her jab. I thought she looked good on the ground though. Like her submission attempts were pretty good, but when you're going against a solid grappler like Miranda, maybe she's still a brown belt. I don't know if she's a black belt yet. Miranda Maverick is dangerous on the ground, and she's physically strong. So I think Miranda, looking at the way Horth fought on the feet against Petrovic, I think with the way Miranda Maverick's improved her striking and the way she's been able to, slip punches by Zombie Girl and Macy Barber at times, I think Miranda Maverick would actually be better on the feet too, as well as the ground. I think she's going to be stronger too. And I think she's built for these 3 rounds because Horth and Petrovic, they got a little sloppy in there in with the way they were fighting. Anyone they were fighting Miranda, I think Miranda would have been able to submit them or, just outwork them on the ground and just dominate. So, yeah, I think this will be a, just good stay busy fight to end the year for Miranda Maverick and some good learning work for Jamie Lynn Horth. Like I said, respect to her for taking this fight. But, yeah, I think I'll go with Miranda Maverick to clearly win this one. All right. Okay, y'all. So UFC Fight Night this weekend. We've got Jan Figueiredo. And once again, 3 a.m. on Saturday, Eastern time. 3 a.m. Eastern time for me. So whatever time that is for y'all, it's going to be different as well, right? So we got 3 WMMA fights on this one. Got a lot of road to UFC fights on this one from China. And let's see, we got the Ming Shi versus Feng Xiaonan fight on this one. These are the winners of the tournament. Ming Shi, I think she looks pretty solid at 16-5. I did see her road to UFC fights. Still need to see a little bit more from her as far as like this big thing. So I think this fight is kind of 50-50 down. Might give it to Feng as far as the edge, but you just never know with these fights. So Feng at 10-2 looks to be the more impressive fighter here. And most of these fighters have fought for lower organizations like WLF and so on. So, questions need to be answered. I know early in her career, Feng did lose to Liang Na, so that's interesting. But, it was like 4 years ago. Still growing at that point. But, yeah, this one here is just kind of up in the air. I'm not really doing a pick on that. That's kind of a pick 'em fight there. All right. But I know the one everybody's been waiting for is right here. Cong versus Gabriela Fernandes, right? Everybody is calling this Cong the future GOAT or the future champion who hasn't proved anything except knock out somebody that Manon, Aaron, Natalia Silva have knocked out. So make it make sense for me. So just understand, look, y'all know me. Look, I know we all have our different tastes and how we gauge fighters, but y'all know me. Look, everybody I was picking to be a threat, I said they either gonna fight for the belt or be up at that contender level status at some point. And I was pretty much right on those. Now, as far as everybody winning the belt, well, Tyler was one, got closest, almost did. But no one's next in line, right? Aaron is still up there. But it came with a lot of work before I said that. And, research behind the scenes to say, oh, watch out for this fighter. Wayne Cong, I mean, coming from the kickboxing background, a lot of kickboxing matches and then making her transition to the WMMA in 2022. Got some finishes, got some decisions. Fought Wu Yanan since Wu Yanan left the UFC, right? Beat her. And then jumped into the road to the UFC, got a submission win there. Gets signed and knocks out Victoria Leonardo. Then, whoa, Wayne Cong is the GOAT all of a sudden. I don't get that. I'm still not sold on that. Like, how is Wayne Cong future GOAT or future champion with a win over somebody y'all ain't give him a known credit for? Seems like y'all ain't give him a known credit for knocking out or finish, or even Natalia Silva. Did y'all give Natalia Silva credit for knocking out or finishing Victoria Leonardo? Did y'all give her this much credit? No. I still need to see some things in Wayne Cong. And this fight here lined up for her, I think, is more of a style matchup to get the crowd going and to bring in the fans. This isn't really a big test for Wayne Cong. I wanted to see Wayne Cong versus Montana or even versus Andrea Lee. Because if y'all are rating it this high and y'all keep bringing up that Valentina fight, then she need to be in there with somebody like Andrea Lee, Montana, JJ Aldridge, right? But not somebody who's only won one fight in the UFC. That's why I say this is just a setup to make her look better than she is possibly. I'm just being real, right? Just being real. Same thing they do with Dakota Ditcheva, Let's see, Gabriela Fernandes is 1-2 in the UFC. She lost to two grapplers. Got a close win over Carly Giudice, which some people think she lost that fight. So she on a 3-fight losing streak, right? So they're basically giving her a fighter who hasn't really won a fight yet. But it plays in the Wayne Cong style because it's a fellow striker, a fellow explosive striker. Gabriela Fernandes got a lot of power. She likes to throw down, throw heavy shots. So they know that this fight could end very much in a knockout either way. But when you look at the punch mechanics from Wayne Cong, I'll be real here. The way she technically sets her shots up, the girl does turn her shots over nicely. Like, she does throw it like a Julian Jackson type right hand. I mean, the way she turns that thing over, it'll shut you down. So I expect her to be the more composed, controlled fighter in this one. Just going by her resume too. I think she's gonna be the one to kind of throw out more feelers and not swinging wild. She's gonna save her power through how she turns her shots over and her accuracy. So I think Wayne Cong is gonna be the one to be more patient and look for a clean finish. Whereas I think Gabriela Fernandes, she might be the one looking to go for takedowns here or even like trying to pull it into a brawl. But if she gets into a brawl and Wayne Cong pulls back and sets in one of them shots, it's going to be lights out. So I do favor Wayne Cong in this one as far as, technique and how she throws her punches and how economical she is when she lets those shots go. Okay. So yeah, you see, I give credit on Wayne Cong on the level she's on and how she can handle a fighter like Gabriela Fernandes. But when you start matching her up with Rose Namajunas or Valentina, come on now. Come on now. I don't even know if you could beat a Karine Silva right now, Vivian Araujo, So let this fight go down and we'll see how much power she has and if she can score another knockout. But even then, beating Gabriela Fernandes is still not rank worthy. Y'all know I ain't lying. I know you love her. I know y'all want her to beat Valentina one day, but still, let's be real. I do have Wayne Cong winning this fight. I think she could win this one by a finish, maybe second round. But don't be surprised if Gabriela Fernandes lands on her or even tries to take her down here. But I got to favor Wang Cong here with her energy and height and reach. She knows how to use it better, I think, than Gabriela Fernandes. But this fight, like I said, it's not going to answer too many questions, like as far as the ground game and takedown defense of Wang Cong. It's just another fight to highlight reel. It's a highlight reel to get people going, right? Let's be real. That's what it is. All right. Got Wang Cong in this one. And this fight, this is the, I'll say main event for us, right? Main event for the WMMA fans. Number 10, right? Tabitha Ricci's number 10, right? Hold on. Tabitha Ricci is, got the number 2 Xiaonan taking on the number 10 Tabitha Ricci. Ooh, that's a big jump right there. That's kind of like Aaron and Tyler. Anything could happen, right? Xiaonan taking on Tabitha Ricci. Kind of a strange matchup, I guess, because of the distance and ranking. But when you look at how it's been going down, you know, everybody's kind of fought everybody. Everybody else is tied up. Let's see, Verna's looking for somebody still. Verna Yan would have been a good fight, though. That would have been a good fight. But, you know, Yan already fought Andrade. Dang, she ain't fighting Lemos either. That would have been a good fight. Anyways, this one here, now that it's going down, it's an interesting matchup. You know, I know Tabitha Ricci, like I said before, she's green. She kind of wanted to get that work in, but they're putting her in this situation now. So we might see a different Tabitha Ricci or a dangerous one. You know, they're kind of putting her on the spot. Because I know she said, I want to take the rest of the year off and go to Thailand and work on her, you know, her stand-up game, her Thai boxing and Muay Thai, whatever. But they put her back in this fight real quick against, you know, a high-level fighter here, you know, a former title contender. So I think this is going to kind of force Tabitha Ricci, you know, to get better now or just come in with the mindset to go through the motions to learn from this fight. But I think, you know, with Tabitha Ricci's mindset, they're going to jump on this opportunity, you know, because Tabitha Ricci, she's been getting fed opportunities. Let's be real. Like, even how she got ranked so quick, you know, she fought a slew of fighters that weren't the best, you know, like Panay, what's her name, Poliana Viana, Maria Oliveira. You know, she beat fighters like that, but she did get a win over Jillian Robertson. You know, got a kind of high rank for her. And now she's kind of skipping the middle again. You know, she fought those type of fighters, but she never really fought anybody like the fighters like Loma, Sam Hughes, and what's her name? Tennessee Gomes, or even when Edward Moura was down there. You know, she didn't fight any of those type of fighters. Now she's going from number 10 to Xiaonan once again. Kind of getting that Mackenzie Dern treatment, you know, being skipped over, you know, skipping over all these other fighters, right? She did fight Lupi. Lupi is ranked below her now, even though Lupi did beat her, right? Which is crazy. So Ricci at number 10, you know, she didn't have to fight Marina, Ebas, Lucindo, Dern, Lemos, Andrade, Verna. She didn't have to fight none of them. She going straight for Xiaonan. So we know if Ricci wins, it's number 2. That's probably going to push her into number 3 or 4, right? And then by next year, if she wins this fight, she might get lined up for a title shot, right? It might put her to the side for a title shot. So UFC's trying to move her a certain way, I think, you know, but that's not going to benefit her in the long run as far as, you know, being able to get the right work in, because could go in there and take some damage against a serious opponent. And Xiaonan could be that one. Now, I know people knock Xiaonan as far as the ground game, but I think she's a different fighter than she was against Carla. I mean, anything could happen. I still do put that in the back of my Rolodex, in the mind, you know, my mental Rolodex, because Xiaonan is a big strawweight. 5'5", got kind of wide shoulders. She got big arms. She's strong, got a little bit of power to her. But then Carla Esparza, she comes in and just owns her on the ground, takes her down. A little 5'1" girl. Carla's strong. So if Tabitha Ricci got any of that type of strength right there and any type of good wrestling, you know, techniques to close the distance and, you know, trip her up and take her down, she can close that distance. it could be a long night on the ground. If Tabitha Ricci's top control is on point, Jan could struggle. But these last few years, Jan has been working like strength and conditioning, hip control after that Wei Li fight. And with the way she was able to hit Wei Li with some clean shots, I don't think she should have any problem, against Ricci. She should be hitting Ricci clean. I know styles make fights, and sometimes Wei Li can get caught up in the moment, but I think she should be able to home in with her boxing. She should be able to keep this fight standing, and even get some good work in on the clinch with some dirty, elbows, dirty boxing. But I think it would be wise for Xiaonan to just keep this fight standing at a distance, because she's a longer, taller fighter here at 5'5", So just kind of mimic what Manon did, find those openings and, pick her apart until she can really, like hurt her. I think, land more leg kicks on a fighter like Ricci. Don't throw too many like side body kicks, maybe even like the side kick like Manon throws. Of course, the jab, the 1-2 sequence got to be important here. About 5'5" with a 63-inch reach. Tabitha Ricci, 5'1", 4 inches shorter. Yeah, this should be a good rangy type of fight for Jan. She's got to keep it standing, and if Ricci happens to get in, force some elbows to the head and knees to the body and push her off and go right back to the center. And I think just kind of keep this thing standing. That's the best way she can win, because I still think Ricci's boxing and striking needs work. It's looked decent in some fights against like Angela Hill and Jillian Robertson, but I don't know if it's developed enough to fight Jan. Jan beat Angela Hill too, so I think that Jan should be able to get that work from the outside and keep it there for 3 rounds. If she stick to that, takedown defense is important in this. Don't even try to go to the ground with Jan. With Tabitha Ricci. For Tabitha Ricci, I think it's important that she uses, some of the things that she used in the Tisha Torres fight and Angela Hill fight, as far as like her youth, and use her size to her advantage. Get in low, kind of wait her way in, stay on the inside and hook to the body of Xiaonan. Stay on the inside, out of the power zone, and push Jan back to the cage. Like Tisha Torres does, use those flurries, get it to the cage and work that body. And then after that, get that trip and takedown and just try her best to land that right hand. I think her right hand is pretty decent, as she gets on the inside. And then when she gets that, she's got to force that trip and takedown in the center of the ring, center of the cage, and get that top control in and get some ground and pound in until she can eventually get like a submission. So, yeah, this is really going to be striker versus grappler, but I think Ricci does have speed on her side too, and youth, and underrated strength. Look like she did get a little bit stronger too. I will say that she has got a little bit stronger. Like she's starting to know how to handle longer fighters by, weighting her way in. But that nose can be opened up too. So for Jan's side, if Jan is landing square in the face, she is going to be landing some big shots. But I give Jan the edge here. I think, with experience and her style and the improvements that she's made, she should be able to win this one. I think she can win it by decision. But I definitely ain't going to be surprised if Ricci pull off something crazy here, because, Ricci has been getting into work, just been looking. But I still think that it's not going to be enough to face a veteran like this yet and get a clear-cut victory. And if she does, boy, she is in the fire. She's going to be in that fire, though. All right, y'all. So, I'm done. Like I said, I just wanted to get back on here, re-record this and talk, because I deleted the other one. When I was going through, I was like, oopsie, there we go. I deleted it. So, anyways, what do y'all think, about this weekend coming up? What y'all think about these past few fights? Karine Silva, I still think she has a chance to do her thing. Not overrated. She'll be back. Who do y'all got in these fights coming up this weekend? I think it's going to be a good card. Definitely going to be on replay for me. Definitely going to be on replay for me. I'm going to have to catch it later on at some point when I got a chance. I got a busy weekend. So I might not hear it from me talking about these fights till like Monday, maybe late Sunday or something. But we'll see y'all. Like always, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't to your favorite WMMA podcast. On that note, Combo Breaker 99, I am out. Peace.